Let's turn this into this for my son's Halloween costume. Let's get started. Like all good projects, I started everything off with a nice fresh cup of hot coffee. Then I got started. First, I decided to use these components that I had for a project that I had done for my daughter several years ago. The first step of this project was just to make sure everything was going to work when I put it all together. So to do that, I put the batteries into the battery pack, and I decided I was just going to trim the wires, strip them out, and I was going to just touch the ends onto the LED LED strip, and make sure that they all worked. This actually proved to be a lot harder to do than I initially thought, simply because I was trying to manage these different wires, and I had the small problem of not putting the wires in the right order. I was trying to apply the voltage backwards on the LED strip the first time by putting the positive voltage onto the negative voltage. So of course, no lights lit up. Once I got that figured out, I hooked up the little inline switch that's going to be used to turn the lights on the box on and off, just to make sure that that worked as expected, and it adjusted the brightness and the blinking so that it would do what I wanted it to do when we were finished with the project, and I could kind of stuff it all inside the box. The next part was for me to figure out how to get these lights to go inside the box and make them still look good without being too obvious that the strips are just an LED light strip. First off, I decided I needed to wire the whole thing together, get some connectors on it, so that way I didn't have to try to hold each of the wires. So I got out my electrical kit and a few butt connectors, and I put all the wires together. That allowed me to have a lot more flexibility when trying to wrap the wires around inside the box, to help kind of make it easier to try to prototype things a little bit and get a few ideas, and allow me to move that wire and make it really flexible. So after a few iterations, I figured out I wanted to just wrap it around in circles. And to do that, I wanted to put some kind of backer on it so I can hold the lights in place. So I decided the first time to go use some foam board that I had and get those all cut to size, and I could put them in and stick the lights to it. But then as I was kind of going along and I got them all cut, I noticed that after it was all done and put together, the box, or the whole box itself, was really heavy. So what I did instead was I went and I found a scrap piece of plexiglass that I had in my garage, and I went and cut the pieces down to the same size of those foam backers and stuck that down in between the lights and the box, and that way I can have something a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner. And that way I thought I could get a little bit of space between the LED lights and the edge of the box to kind of diffuse out that light a little bit. So to do that, I figured I could put some kind of spacers on the plexiglass, so that way it could create a little bit more of a gap between the box and the lights. And I started off using a couple pieces of plastic that I had found that were used to repair some of my kitchen cabinets. And after I did the first one and it took forever to get it lined up and glued, I realized that I have my hot glue gun. I can just put a blob of hot glue on the piece of plexiglass, and that gives me my spacer. So I did that. I put the spacers in, and then I started to wrap these lights all the way around the inside of the box. And then once they were all wrapped around on the inside, roughly where I wanted them, I took those pieces of plexiglass and slid them down in between the lights and the box. That way I had that little separation. And then I put some pieces of cardboard in there just to try to protect the wires from getting hit by the candy when the kids were putting them in there. And there we go. The box is finished, glowing, and ready to go out for trick or treats on Halloween. Thanks everybody for watching. See you guys later.